Hey guys, so we lost the first half of this footage yesterday. So this is technically yesterday's episode, but it's going up today. So sorry if the story's a little bit old. And also halfway through this, or sometime in between, we switch t-shirts. So sorry about that.
Deal with it.
It's the first time this has happened since we launched the channel. So anyways, here's the show.
Yeah, I blame marijuana. And that's because since last week, mysterious black bundles have been fished out of the waters and have also been washing up onto local beaches all along the east coast of Florida, where nothing good ever happens. It took no time at all for curious beachgoers and locals to start ripping into these bundles, because it was pretty obvious to most people who've lived or vacationed in Florida that mysterious, watertight packages floating up onto the beach from the Atlantic Ocean that far south could only be one thing. Drugs.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of free drugs.
Drugs.
For the taking.
Yeah.
Now these mystery bundles, they could contain any number of various drugs. Coke, meth, heroin, marijuana, fentanyl, don't touch it.
Ecstasy, whatever, take your pick. It is the ultimate mystery box.
Whatever the kids are doing these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great mystery box.
Don't know if there's a promo code for it or not, but mystery box right on there on the beach.
Yeah, and this mystery box, you don't have to give the devs $1.99.
Nope.
You just get there first.
Dig right in. So long before either of us were alive, the east coast of Florida, extending down south to various locations in the Caribbean and Central America, had been a very well-known channel for shipping large quantities of drugs, whether it was carried by plane or by boat. And it remains that way today. Every once in a while, though, something goes wrong. A boat is capsized, a plane makes a drop in the wrong location, or the person picking up the delivery at the correct location can't find these bundles of drugs, and then they're either lost forever or they end up in the hands of local police or the Coast Guard or the DEA.
But sometimes, they make their way onto the shore without being spotted or picked up along their journey. And that's exactly what's been happening in the Daytona Beach area over the past week or so, thanks to what some experts believe is the result of the currents that have been kicked up by Hurricane Florence, as the storm has made its slow, ominous journey towards North Carolina. As these bundles landed on the Florida beaches, people who were either curious or knew exactly what would be stashed inside of them started just ripping into them. And they found that this time around, the bundles were filled with packed up 5-kilo bricks of marijuana? Who the fuck is still smuggling marijuana? I guess it's still like a felony in Florida, so whatever, I get it.
Yeah.
Hooray, right? Free marijuana for everyone.
Yeah, it's time to celebrate.
Come on down, there's enough to go around for everyone.
It's second spring break. Yeah, that is correct. If you can grab whatever you can hold and get the hell out of there before anyone stops you or gets you on camera frantically ripping away handfuls of weed, sure, free marijuana. But, like Elliot said, since non-medical marijuana is still highly illegal in Florida, and it also goes without saying that tearing apart bundles of washed up drugs and taking whatever you want is also against the law.
Where's the crime?
People were faced with a choice. Take a bunch of free weed and hope you don't get caught, or narc out everyone that chose to do so. So obviously, both of those choices have been happening because while reporting on this story, the Washington Post acquired one of the 911 calls made to local police when people found one of these packages where a woman, probably named Nancy the Narc, said this.
Hi, we're at the Jungle Hut Park and a huge bundle of drugs or something just washed up on the beach, and there are people like fighting over it. There's like 7 or 8 people out there and they're all like huddling up against it, and my dad's trying to take it so you guys can have it all. Is that why he's trying to take it? Nancy? One 61-year-old man named Robert Kelly, who had grabbed one of those bundles and threw it in his car, was, for whatever reason, still around when authorities showed up. And when he was questioned about it, he reportedly claimed that, yeah, he'd taken some of it and put it in his car, but he was just holding it there in a safe place until law enforcement arrived so they could take it.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Easy.
Guys, I was just looking after this giant, lucrative bundle of drugs for you.
Yes.
So these crazy kids over here, they couldn't take it home and smoke the devil's lettuce. I should get a deputization.
A commendation for this.
Commendation.
Where's my award? Well, it was a pretty flimsy excuse, but he did stick around and was apparently, according to him, completely honest with the police, so maybe he wasn't lying. Well, it doesn't matter anyway because the cops arrested him for possession and threw him in jail. There's your award.
This is literally like an unaired episode of King of the Hill.
Yeah.
This is what Hank Hill would do in this situation.
Officer, I'm glad you've arrived. I have put the drugs in my truck next to Ladybird, and they are safely tucked away there. And thank God you're here because hooligans were tearing into these bundles and stealing so much marijuana.
Mr. Hill, are you aware that drug trafficking is a serious crime? You're under arrest,
Oh.
sir. No! Dad, I didn't know you were a drug trafficker.
Yeah.
Bobby.
But with more and more of these bundles showing up on shore and, with them showing up on shore, you could safely assume people were digging into them every time one was found, trying desperately to grab hold of a few sweet nugs of Mary Jane.
Just a couple nugs.
Now, obviously, this pissed the cops off, so now they're sharing photos taken by onlookers in an attempt to identify anyone who was spotted trying to take free weed from one of these bundles.
Calling all narcs.
In a post to the Flagler County Sheriff's Facebook page,
That's a real Flagler County?
they posted a photo of a young woman in a bathing suit digging furiously into one of these bundles and asked for help from the community so that they could identify her and she could be brought to justice.
Oh, fuck off.
Their post had this to say: "This woman is wanted in connection to the marijuana that washed up on Flagler County beaches," which kind of makes it seem like she was the one who was attempting to either ship or receive all of this bud. Now, as you could safely assume, the comment section of this post was a minefield, but mostly people just asking the police to go investigate real crimes. However, there were a few select gems, so here are some examples of replies from people eager to have their voices heard on the subject and the post itself.
Who did she steal it from? SpongeBob SquarePants? That weed doesn't belong to the government. Go spend our money more wisely for something that matters. They should be ashamed for putting her in harm's way for posting her face. For freaking weed that they want for themselves that isn't harming anybody. A very important reply to that comment was, "Can't be SpongeBob, he's broke. It's Mr. Krabs ganja. He's got all the money."
And they're not wrong.
I mean, it's about time that SpongeBob seized the means of Krabby Patty production. Mr. Krabs, he's hoarding it all.
What's in those patties? Here's another comment. "Her phone is probably blowing up with people asking to buy weed from her. You guys just helped her push whatever she has left."
Oh, hey, that's Kelly. I used to go to school with her.
Damn, hey Kelly, you got
I think I still have her number.
Let me get some of that seaweed.
And probably the best one of all, anyone that helps you find this woman had no friends in school because they ate boogers and actually told the substitute what chapter you left off on. That's, they painted a fucking picture there and it is an accurate photorealistic
Just a bunch
image.
of booger eaters turning this lady in.
Booger eaters. Fucking narcs.
All in all, the community in Flagler County seems to agree that the cops shouldn't waste their time on finding this girl over some washed up weed. And also that they may have put her life at risk by posting her face, which we blurred, because whoever did own this weed, they might be interested in finding her.
Yeah, lots of weed like that, illegal. Could be a cartel, not known as the nicest people around.
So
Generally known to hold grudges and, seek retribution in violent ways. So yeah, maybe just let this one go.
So, but just based on the comments alone, Florida might actually have some common sense left, at least outside of that sheriff's department. So bravo for that. Still, if you find a black watertight package on the beach, just leave it and don't try to get some free drugs, because at the very least, they probably won't be very good after floating around in salt water for God knows how long.
They're airtight.
I know, but
You rip that baby open, it's got that Stay Fresh seal on
Well,
it.
they said when the guy that took the brick and put it in his car, when cops found it, it was like sopping wet, and a bunch of people that were there reported that the weed just didn't look great.
Oh yeah, then probably not worth it.
Yeah, because if it floats around for long enough,
Yeah, these packages might have been out there for years.
we don't know.
And that's not gonna be worth it at that point.
Just take a quick look around, make sure nobody's watching. There's cameras everywhere these days.
give it a gold touch, give it the touch test, give
Yeah.
it the sniff test,
Yeah,
give it the taste test.
but if it's fentanyl, don't get near it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, just don't get near anything. You don't even know what's in this. Weed's one thing. You can look at it and be like, oh, that's marijuana.
Yeah.
If it's a white powder,
Yeah, that could be
harder to identify.
One of many.
Or anything pressed, you don't know what's in that.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Just kind of a cool crime, but just leave it alone.
Hey kids, don't do drugs, but also don't narc on other people who are doing
Yeah, just let these people go about their day.
drugs. But let's move on to one more quick non-weed related story before we go, because following in the footsteps of Nintendo and their success with launching tiny retro consoles like the NES and SNES Classic, Sony has decided to throw their hat in the ring, and they've announced the completely original, one-of-a-kind PlayStation Classic, which will come packed with 20 preloaded games and retail for $99 when it officially goes on sale December 3rd, just in time for the American holiday of Christmas.
American only. It's going to be a very cute gift that people use a couple times and then it just sits and collects dust.
I looked at the list of games and I was like, Yeah, I guess the PS1 kind of sucked. Yeah, the original PlayStation came out almost 25 years ago. Insane. It ushered in a new modern era of video games, and it brought real-time 3D graphics to homes across the world when it was released alongside competitors like the N64 and the Sega Saturn. It was one of the first consoles to utilize discs instead of cartridges. These discs were black on the bottom. Mm-hmm. How do they work?
Watertight black discs.
Yeah.
Big black discs. Alexa, please look up big black discs. We just ruined someone's night.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I mean, it was groundbreaking. It changed the landscape of gaming, and they did release a ton of third-party titles.
So that point right there, though, might make the release of this PlayStation Classic a bit less appealing to mainstream audiences, because even with a ton of great releases for this console during its run, you would have to imagine that locking down the redistribution rights to some of the best games would be a nightmare for Sony. So it's tough to say if people will get exactly what they're hoping for out of this thing, or if it'll just be a cute little toy that reminds them of their childhood.
Yeah, so far they've only announced a few of the titles that will be available on this classic console, and it does offer a bit of hope, though you would assume that they would announce the biggest titles first in order to hype this thing up, and then lock down a ton of pre-orders, and then sprinkle in, you know, the lesser shit that you don't really care about later. Just fill that roster. Here's what they announced today. Final Fantasy VII, okay. Jumping Flash, don't remember that one. Ridge Racer Type 4, vaguely remember. Tekken 3,
hey, that's a good one, yeah.
Wild Arms, what is Wild Arms?
I vaguely remember it.
Why isn't Twisted Metal on this list?
That would be a great one.
That would be maybe like biggest the next game of that console.
The next big release might be Twisted Metal. Although, was that PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1? I'm so fucking old.
PS1.
So fucking old, I can't keep track anymore.
That's one of the only ones I remember playing. I didn't own a PlayStation, so I didn't have a lot of time around it, but it was Twisted Metal and I believe Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 were like the two big ones.
I had one, but I had Ridge Racer and like X Games, which was not good and did not age well. I got like a ROM a couple like years ago. I was like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool to play that game again? It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't. I don't know. Are you guys interested in the PlayStation Classic? For me, a lot of the stuff they're offering, not really that cool. Is it online capable? Can you play Tekken online with people that you maybe might not have been able to do earlier? I did try last night. So Nintendo Switch launched its online mode where it gives you all the classic games on there, and pretty boring after about 5 minutes.
That's the thing. Yeah, the nostalgia is a
cruel beast,
a cruel mistress, because some things are best left in your memories where they're perfectly preserved, being as special and new and fun as they were when you were a child. And now that you're an adult who's been exposed to decades more technology
and has literally every game you could ever want at your disposal at any point in time.
You know,
So I don't know. I can't really, and I don't play Nintendo Switch online, so I don't really see a point in keeping this. Like I'd probably wait like a year until they have that list grown way out to include Super Nintendo and N64 titles.
Yeah.
So I can't recommend it now. And same goes for this PlayStation. Like, I have an NES Classic. It's cute. I've played it a handful of times. I learned my lesson. I'm going to avoid this. And I think it's cool if you're a really big PlayStation fan and you want this for nostalgia purposes. That's fine. Do whatever you want with your money. I think it's very cute. I just can't imagine, like, it being worth it after a couple playthroughs of like Final Fantasy VII, which is coming out for the Switch as well.
But hey, at $100, pick one of these up for your Christmas break.
Sell it to a dad who's desperately trying to find one for triple the price.
Then you'll make it worth your while.
Yeah. But if you want to spend money on something worthwhile, check out our Patreon in the link below. Help support this show, keep the show running, and maybe get yourself a little prize there. Also, a prize. Watch our new episode of Tech News Day where... so fucking sue me then, says the man who got sued, Elon Musk. And also check out Monday's episode where we talk about more gaming stuff, but it's a bit more depressing because it's about divorce.
Stick to gaming. We
fucking did it.
We did it.
We did weed and gaming today, so take that. Bye.